Speaking of dealing with media, it is a part of your job as a professional athlete. It's a requirement, unless you're Garrett Cole and you say no.
I'm no longer employed.
But see, here's where, as a franchise quarterback, I feel like this is a job requirement. You have to go out there. There's several that you have to obviously play well. You have to be the leader on the field and off, be that guy in the weight room, on the practice field that kind of keeps everybody up. And I think dealing with the media is one of those requirements where you may not like it, but you have to do it. And it's part of the growth process of being a franchise quarterback, which Baker Mayfield is struggling with. This season has not gone as planned for the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield has not been shy about being outspoken, brash. I'm going to do whatever I want to. And he had an exchange yesterday in a season that is quickly imploding on the Cleveland. Here's what happened yesterday at his press availability.
There was a penalty, so we were negative yardage.
No, but there was a lot of time between snaps.
Well, when the penalty happened, then we're behind the chains. No, stop saying but. I just told you the clock was running and we had a penalty. You want to give them the ball back? No, you don't play. You don't know it. That's just plain and simple. Was I happy with the drive? No, we didn't score points. It's the dumbest question you could ask. What? Jesus, Tony.
All right, so that is Baker Mayfield having an exchange with a Cleveland reporter, Tony Grossi.
Yep.
There is
history
there, which I get. It happens. You're not going to like everybody you work with. You're not going to ask you. Some reporters are a little bit more annoying, irritating, and I do think that Tony Grossi even baited him by saying, were you happy with that drive? Yeah. I think that was a snarky, smart aleck question that he knew was going to get a rise, but they were kind of getting into it. And I think he gave it there, but I still, as Baker Mayfield, you have to take the high road and you can ignore him. You can say, I'm tired of your answers. Next question, do something. But to walk off, and also there is something that every player thinks when they're at the podium, and you can't do it. You just can't put reporters on blast by going with the you didn't play card. It's just you can't go there in that situation in that fashion. And it was very disrespectful. You don't know. You don't play. And we all think that, but you got to hold that. You got to play that better.
I think that walking out of the presser did give Tony Grossi a bit of a win.
Yes.
Right? And then coming out and doubling down with the tweets about it made it look worse for Baker. But just in that moment, like when the press conference was going on, and I call a spade a spade. So when Baker acts punkish, I've said that he's acting punkish. But I didn't really have a problem with the way he handled it prior to the walk-off.
Right.
It was a stupid question. Like, I would have rather you ask, instead of saying, hey, you don't play, you don't know, hey, what would you have done in that situation?
Right.
Like, what would have been your game plan in that? Because this is what ours was.
Right.
We didn't want to give him the ball back. Articulate it kind of the same way you did. But to your point, don't throw the you didn't play card in there, right? You could still make it, the same suggestive type of tone without saying it. But this is where I had a problem. When he tried to explain himself, Baker, that is, the dude kept interrupting him.
Right.
Like, listen, you asked me a damn question.
Right.
I'm telling you, and it's not the answer you want to hear, so you're going to keep interjecting with your but. Shut your mouth. Like, I'm answering a question right now. If you want the answer, shut up, I'll give it to you. So, like, it was a really weird dynamic there. Ultimately, you lost when you walked out.
Right.
But I didn't have a problem with him telling dude, like, hey, man, shut. Like,
there's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
I'll give you Deshaun Watson, for example. Deshaun Watson was in a press conference like about a month ago. Reporter was asking some questions. And basically all reporters, they're trying to get a good quote.
Right.
They want to get you either to throw your team under the bus. They want you to say something about your coach. They want something that's going to go viral, just like this did. Deshaun Watson was asked reporter, was getting a little bit irritated. You could tell. What did he do? He kind of went super in-depth.
Oh, yeah, that was
Remember we played it on this show. And he was like,
cool.
hey, when I'm a quarterback, I'm going to see diamond coverage, and I have all these different things running through my mind. It was like, all right, just to show you how hard it is.
Right.
I would have liked Baker Mayfield to do something along those lines. I get, like you said, well, what would you have done, Tony? Let's hear what your game plan would have been.
Yeah, what would you call when we got penalized and we were behind the sticks? What would your play call have been at that point in time?
Right,
like,
exactly. What would you have done in our playbook, in our language? Like there are things that they don't know, and it's hard to evaluate there. I do think he could handle it better.
He could have handled it better.
I don't think it was. I did see some people saying, comparing it to Ryan Leaf, who Ryan Leaf famously went after a San Diego reporter, but he challenged him physically. I don't think it was that bad.
Not.
But I do think the reporter won, which is, again, I have this kind of relationship with how I feel about Baker Mayfield. I do think he's a punk, but I don't mind it if you go out there and you back it up. When you are struggling the way you are this season, you can't do these types of things. And I think that's a problem that bothers a lot of guys in the NFL as it relates to advertisements, his attitude. You haven't done anything yet.
He's got
one thing.
He's got to grow up. He's got to
Yes.
grow up, right, Danny? This is what we're talking about, and you're talking about being a professional, and we've all been in front of a camera that you don't want to be in front of at a time that you don't necessarily want to be there, and you have to field questions about, a failure,
Right.
And that sucks. No one wants to ever
No.
do that, but that's part of your gig, man. It's part of the job.
Imagine like it is, and this is how you would rate. Imagine if you're at a corporate job and you have you just missed on a sale.
Yeah.
You maybe, you got demoted. Something
Yeah.
happened that was your worst day at work. And then at the end of the day, when you don't want to talk to anybody, you have to answer some questions that people are looking for goods and they want something. And,
Sure.
imagine that. And nobody would like that. So that's what you're dealing here with Baker Mayfield. So I understand it. But I would just ask you, when was the last time you heard Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes? You go down any good to
Tom Brady
great
just did it.
quarterback
Tom Brady
with a
just
media
did it
member?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With the
Without
Robert Kraft stuff.
Okay. So because he did it.
Yeah.
He's the GOAT.
That is- well, there is a difference. Yes, yeah.
He's earned that right.
Correct.
And even that, I thought he didn't walk off. He was stern.
Yeah.
You can do all those things.
And just the walk-off hurt. The walk-off really hurt.
You give them the win.
Yeah.
So you have to keep your composure. And I thought Brady really towed the line. He was losing it, and he was getting irritated.
He reeled it in.
And he reeled it in
a
at the
little
last
bit more
minute.
polished.
Yeah.
This also, bigger picture, and we've talked about this before, is your relationship with the media. Right? And when you come off the way Baker comes off at times, and it rubs people the wrong way, well, it's easy to pile on when things aren't going well for you. You know what I mean? You build up equity with reporters just like you do with any other human being, right? And they're willing to give you the benefit of the doubt when things aren't going great if the relationship is solid. So if you're always tough to deal with or abrasive with them, man, when things don't go well, to your point, and you're not backing that up,
Right.
you're gonna get the trolls. And he was trolling him yesterday.
Oh,
It was a troll
absolutely.
job.
That's what annoys me as
Yeah.
well in this whole thing. This guy's name was trending too. So I don't like that because
Yeah,
I
he's
feel like
troll.
it's a win for a little Weasley guy that's up there trying to bait him.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing you could do if you're Baker, take him aside after. You can ream him. And
Yeah.
the guy can even write about it later. Hey, I got, Baker Mayfield. They don't hear it. They don't see it on camera. It doesn't resonate like that.
Yeah.
Joey made a good point about Tom Brady, the GOAT, polished image. That wasn't about the game. That was something off the field.
Ain't nobody worried.
Defending him.
You're comparing apples and oranges to your point.
That's
Once
right.
you've done it,
Right.
and you've got the
True.
you
can
get
do
away with a lot of
you can do
stuff.
those types of things.